I can rant about it. It's okay.
Dude, rant,
Well, let's rant.
Rant,
Yeah,
rant.
that's what we're here
rant.
for.
Now, I was trying to explain this to my mom. This particular one, she was talking about how it doesn't apply to her, and I was explaining the whole idea of agentic AI to her as an assistant for like elderly and aging people. They
Hmm.
could use it to help with memory. It could help remind them. It could help
Yeah.
create lists. It could help do all this stuff. And that's not generative. That
Yeah.
is using their life, their, what does Apple call it? Their personal context, I guess, if you really want to go crazy here. They're using their personal context to manage something that an elderly mind no longer can manage.
Yep.
And I see
I
this
mean,
in my parents, their inability, their executive function is not as strong as it used to be. They complain about it all the time. And I'm like, I see it. I have
yeah.
ADHD. I know what executive function disability
Oh yeah.
is.
The tough thing is because like you're saying that it's like this because it's sort of like a wild west with no rules. Like if there's no guidelines on it, you can get real dicey with anything related to like legal or medical matters. So
Mhm.
in its current state, is it trustworthy enough to be able to like help guide someone through, like a doctor's appointment, or to help them, manage documents and stuff in a legal way? Maybe not. So you got to be careful with that. Like if they put more effort and focus onto that, then it could be a viable product. It could be a viable resource and tool. Um,
Mhm.
but you know, there's a lot of ethical concerns if you're trying to give medical advice that's not actually medical advice, or give legal
Oh, yeah.
advice that's not actually legal advice, or give financial advice that's not, vetted financial advice. There's a lot of ways that it could go very wrong very easily, and already kind
Yeah.
of is.
And just think of current legalities with AI is literally a HIPAA violation. It
Yeah.
is, it
Yeah.
is, it
Yep.
is an unsecure, untested, unregulated database that will
Yep.
have the patient's information, whether it's local or not. It's not a viable, like, it's not viable, but doctors use it all the time now.
Yep.
There's
It's the wild, wild
entire
west as far as like
companies.
organization
Yeah.
and things like that. Like,
Yeah, I think a lot of I might just be seeing it wrong, but I don't understand why people are calling it the Wild West. It's just high-end computing.
mm,
It right now there because there's no intelligence in it. It's machine learning, which is the highest end computing you can get before it actually becomes intelligence, but it's still just programs. It's still it's still spell check, you know.
Yeah.
It's the same
I,
concept, and that's been around forever.
I was talking about the Wild West more in terms of regulations. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on. Like, the Wild West
Mm,
lasted like a very short period of time, like maybe 4 or 8 years, really. But
yeah.
but it was a bunch of new people going into a new space, trying to tap into all of these resources, and not a lot of people enforcing it, except for Texas Rangers and other gunmen
Yeah.
and lawmen trying to police and enforce codes and social norms rather than laws, because there weren't a lot of laws saying you can't do this with this land, or you can't. And so I think
Yeah.
that's sort of the context of it. Like, it's not necessarily saying that like the the AI is thinking and running amok and shooting
yeah,
guns and
Yeah.
stuff. That's not what I
But
mean when I say Wild West. I mean it's an unregulated landscape, like with crypto. It's like, for like a number of years, crypto was like, oh, you can do whatever, and there weren't a lot of regulations, and now it's regulated a bit more like a market in currency, in terms of exchanging it for real currency and stuff like that. But there's still a lot of loopholes for people to use and abuse and take advantage of everyday people, the big players taking advantage of everyday people in both crypto and in AI.
mm,
And
yeah.
it's up to us as a society to figure out what sort of rules and guidelines we're going to create and enforce for these kinds of um, terrain.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I don't think AI is at the point where it's new. Like I don't feel like it's any different than any other program, any other. analyst with a data set dealing with
Yeah.
that. Right now, it's just high-end computing.
Yeah.
So yes, we have to have the conversation about regulation, but the companies are arguing that because there's no regulation, we can do anything we want. And they're in court and doing like legal stuff right now saying that we should be free to do all this, regardless of the legality of intellectual property, of the legality of
Yeah.
hallucinations and
Yeah.
putting people in trouble,
Yeah.
psychological distortion for people, who get addicted to it and all of that. We're
Oh, it's
just
amazing.
dealing with high-end computing at this point, not AI yet, which means that I feel like it falls, and I could be totally wrong about this,
Yeah.
but it falls underneath the laws that currently exist
I mean, yeah.
because
And that was
programming's been
probably true.
around for 50 years.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
that was probably true of the Wild West. That was still like U.S. territory and allegedly subject to U.S. laws, but they could get away with stuff because they were so far away from any sort of central bank or law enforcement agency that could stop them from doing that stuff. And that's sort of the space that crypto and AI operate in. They're not necessarily doing
Yeah.
anything too different from what's been done before. And yes, it should be subject to laws, but just because it should be subject to the law doesn't mean people are actually going to follow the law or enforce the law.
You're just
Yeah.
going to have the same
Yeah.
thing you have with the internet, where you have
Yeah.
what's considered the legal internet and
Yeah.
what is very much the
Yeah.
illegal internet
Yeah.
that still has a home.
Yeah,
that
people
still
are always
has
there are always going to be
thousands
laws,
of
and
users.
people are
Yeah.
always going to break laws and find ways around laws. Some with good
Yeah.
intentions and some with bad intentions, but yeah, it's
No,
it's
I can
but
see it. I can see it with crypto. So I
Yeah.
can see, because crypto is kind of a new field,
Yeah.
relatively new now. But so
Yeah.
I can see it with that because you're dealing with, blockchain and all this stuff
Yeah.
that's honestly new. It's new. My argument is, like, this isn't new, so why are we regulating it differently?
I
It's
think they've
not
done a
really
good
like. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think they have done a good job marketing and claiming that it is
That's
artificial intelligence, and they've convinced enough people, including lawmakers and judges and enforcement agencies, that oh no, this doesn't really count as the old stuff because this is new. This is an artificial intelligence, and we
Yeah.
can't and like but like they've done a lot of deliberate obfuscation of the sources of the data and stuff that they're iterating upon,
Yeah.
and doing things that big search engines and stuff like that have been doing for a while, of claiming like, oh, it's just the algorithm. We can't say for sure how it got that way, and it's like, okay, you can't say for sure because you don't want to give up that proprietary information. And also, you can't fully
Programmers
explain
made it
what
that way.
inferences.
Let me just clarify that
and
right
connections
now.
are being made. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just looking at it, I think, from a different angle and saying something pretty close to the same thing. We're just looking at it from slightly different
Yeah,
sides.
I
of
think
it.
I think we're in the same. I think my approach is more like, why the heck
Yeah.
why the heck are you following the marketers and the people,
Yes.
advertisers who are known to obfuscate truth, who are known to essentially tell you something and then juke around it at the end?
Yeah.
Like, it's a known,
Yeah.
like, sea of landmines to walk
Yeah.
with that. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of hype that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it's very different than when, say, the internet. A lot of people I know compare it to internet startups back in like
Yeah, the
2000, I think it was
dot-coms
like
and stuff.
2008 and stuff, or all of
Dot-com
those,
bubble and yeah.
the tech bubble, all that.
Yeah.
They've been comparing it to that, and not really. Like, it's not really the same.
Yeah, I think there's some ways that it's the same, but like, I I don't like the term AI or
Oh, no,
calling it
by no
artificial
means.
intelligence because it's not really intelligence. It's just generative
Yeah.
networks.
Yeah, this is where I give Apple a little bit more credit. They spent years trying to tell everyone it's machine learning, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a program that was programmed by people that grabs new data sets and incorporates it into the program. That's not that's not intelligence. That is
Right.
a program gathering data.
Yeah.
Intelligence, and we this is where we get into a little bit of the philosophy of all of it too, because you're dealing with intelligence and you're dealing with consciousness and all of that. Everyone, when you ask them what it is, what is artificial intelligence, they think, you know, they think science fiction
Yeah.
novels from, the early, 1910s all the way to 1960 to
Yeah.
Skynet
I think HAL or
HAL.
C3PO
Yeah,
or Blade Runner
yeah,
or stuff like
yeah,
that. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Well, I
one of the
mean,
odd things about it, like AI depiction of that has always been negative. Like there's not really one where they've been like, this is a very positive AI that is, helping
Yeah.
everyone.
well, that's what I
We
mean.
can
Is I
recognize.
think fear is a lot of it, especially like older generation with a lot of it too. A lot of my day is I don't want to go near a robot. I don't want to go near a thing that doesn't understand me. And it's like it's not what it is. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not World of Worlds. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also has its own dangers, like any tool. Like
Oh, yeah.
an oven's dangerous. The stove can be hot. Like, but it doesn't mean it's thinking. But it's if you don't know how to use it safely and when to use it and when not to use it, like you'll end up leaving a fork in the microwave and doing something that it's like you put this in the box. Yeah, that's fine. We will heat this up. That's what I'm supposed to do. It's not like he's even thinking that. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the thoughts I had is current iterations of AI is very similar to like self-perpetuating viruses that scammers and
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the common parlance right now is hackers
Yeah.
do. So like it's very similar to that. We're just trying to
Yeah.
make that legal. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Like, yeah, I think like a computer virus, like, or even memes can be viral. Like,
Yeah.
those things, like those like Facebook memes where it's like, oh, here's this like math problem, and it's like deliberately designed to be misleading. And the ones that are the most misleading and confusing are the ones that people share and comment on the most.
Right.
And in that way, it is like a virus. They're sort of like a virus in that it's like evolving. It's not intelligent, but it's evolving to be more spreadable and more transmissible. And that's sort of like what the way whether it's a computer virus or a like a coronavirus, that's how it works. The ones that are less successful at spreading don't spread, and the ones that are more successful at spreading spread and then mutate a little bit and until they find versions that spread more. But if people aren't like thinking critically about the sources of information and whether this could be an AI hallucination or not, then you start running into issues of sort of common sense and public understanding of how it works and how it can mislead and what sort of guardrails you need to put around it for as a society and just as yourself interacting with it, and I think kids today are probably might be better at understanding how to deal with that stuff, in the same way that when we were growing up, like we know how to program VCRs, but maybe our parents didn't. It's just you need to know and have the framework to interact with the tools and the technology.
Well, I'm gonna rein this in. We got another episode to record. This has been Between the Geeks. Thanks, guys. Thank you.